A bike from my original.
In the game SCP Containment Breach, released in 2012, you take the role of an ex-Foundation employee turned Class D during a facility-wide containment breach in a Foundation containment site, orchestrated by rogue SCP staff member Dr. Maynard, who is working under the Chaos Insurgency. But which site in question is this? Throughout the game and its various versions, most players believe that the site you are roaming is that of Site-19, the SCP Foundation's largest active containment site. But is this actually the case? For the longest time myself, I believed it was Site-19. You can see it in 2 of my older videos. It just makes sense, doesn't it? How could it not be in Site-19? Most of the SCPs shown in-game are those who are contained within. 012, 035, 049, 055, 096, 106, 682, 173, just to name a few. Even some Site-19 staff is mentioned, most notably Dr. Gears, a notable figure within the SCP lore. Even some documents you find throughout your exploration will lead you to believe you're in Site-19, although this is more of a consistency error with mods such as Ultimate Edition and Remastered Edition. It'll still cause confusion for players, however. But countering this, there are many things that don't add up which not a lot of people consider. SCPs such as 079, 939, 966, among others, aren't housed in Site-19, so it wouldn't make sense to have them within this specific facility. And SCPs that should be present that aren't, such as SCPs 131, 312, and 527. But to be fair, you can't expect them to add every single SCP housed in Site-19. But the guy has a fish head, so take that as you will. I also found this photograph of him in Gary's mode. If you want more concrete evidence that we are in fact not in Site-19, in the entrance zone in one of the offices you can find, notably the one with the funny weed inside, you can find a monitor that reads as follows.
Have we gotten a confirmed timetable on when this damn overload will be over yet? All I get from Central is the same emergency notice. Even with the extra staff, we're having more than an acceptable amount of incidents. If something goes wrong, with all that we're holding right now, we might have to lock down the whole site.
When, not if. Anyway, I called Site-19 this morning, and they estimated that all the necessary repairs will be done by Thursday. The other sites are in much worse condition though, and fixing them will take much longer. The insurgency really outdid itself this time. The amount of planning and effort they put into this is almost admirable.
Why would Foundation staff, in this case Security Chief Franklin, contact Site-19 if they themselves were in Site-19? Think about it. It appears, according to Security Chief Franklin, the Chaos Insurgency who are behind the current containment breach had at some point caused damage to other sites, Site-19 included, which is why we are not in Site-19. But that leads me to my next point. If we're not in Site-19, where are we? There are several different sites and areas we could be in, which you could consider due to them being built around SCPs that you can find in-game. SCP-860 for instance, although the key changes the door and locks at random intervals, its last known coordinates lead to Site. So perhaps the site in Containment Breach was constructed around SCP-860's door, designated SCP-860-1. But that doesn't really narrow it down, does it? Where and what is a site? So what about SCP-1162? A hole in the wall that dispenses nostalgic items for those who reach their hands into it. As the older wiki states, before the document itself was deleted, the hole is currently located within Site-31. So, is this Site-31 the one mentioned? And is it the site that the player roams? It could be, but it reads that the hole can be moved, which has less reliability that it is Site-31, and perhaps along with the rest of the SCP stored in this site had been moved prior to the containment breach, due to an incident at their sites of origin, which would make sense as it mirrors what Security Chief Franklin wrote earlier in the video. The next thing I'd like to bring up that counters the Site-31 theory is SCP-914. If you played any SCP game in the last decade or so, you know what this thing is. Oh, fucking hell! Fuck! Sorry, bro, you scared the shit out of me. SCP-914 is a large clockwork device weighing several tons and covering an area of 18 square meters, consisting of screwdrives, belts, pulleys, gears, springs, and other clockworks. It is incredibly complex, consisting of over 8 million moving parts comprised mostly of tin and copper, as the wiki says. Stored within Site-19's Facility 23, SCP-914 has the ability to refine anything that's placed inside of it, using the settings dial located here. Now, hold on just a minute. You done said the SCP Containment Breach is not in Site-19. Why are you now bringing up this point? Well, Arthur, I'm glad you brought up that point. Site-19's Facility 23 is still technically a part of Site-19, but at the same time it's not, as it's located quite far away from the main site, and it's designed to house SCP-914 and its related anomalies, such as those created by 914's refinement process. So, Facility 23 sounds pretty solid, doesn't it? No. Game/games take place within Facility 23, and all the other anomalies were moved there temporarily, due to a raid conducted by the Chaos Insurgency. Going over what I mentioned, it all adds up, doesn't it? It would make logical sense, as you can't imagine the staff moving this machine with billions of moving parts, can you? Well, I hope you're ready to throw away everything I just mentioned, because of one document you can find throughout your travels.
The Modular Site Project, a proposition for nuclear device placement by Dr. Hart. The facility.
You're probably quite confused on what this means, so let me break it down for you. Excuse me. This document refers to the Alpha and Omega warheads found in the site. The Alpha, Sigma, warheads referring to the nuclear bombs stored outside of the facility, and the Omega warheads referring to the nuclear bombs found inside of the facility, which would be the Foundation's last resort in the event of a site-wide containment breach. But why is this document relevant to my point? Now, the reason why this document is so important to know where we are is because the line of text up here, the Modular Site Project. What is this so-called modular site? Roaming around a bit more, you will find a room labeled Conference Room 9B. Inside you can find a document that connects with the Warhead document, that reads as followed.
This document and all the attachments are only to be shared with participants of the Introduction to the Modular Site Project, Conference. Please read through this document and all the provided attachments before the conference. The Modular Site Project is a concept initiated by Dr. G. Maynard in the Engineering and Technical Service Department of the SCP Foundation. The concept is still in an early stage, but further development of the idea has been encouraged by the O5. More details in the O5 response to the Modular Site Project document.
So what we learn from these documents is that this modular site, as it states, is a site which is modular. Believe it or not. Modular meaning the site can be redesigned easily and put together in different ways. Which, if you think about it, if this is the site we roam, could explain the seed system used in the game. Each playthrough is merely a different adaptation of the site, but this time the Foundation decided to have it shaped in this way, rather than the last way. If that makes sense. If we take all that I've said into consideration, we should believe that all of these SCPs were transferred to this so-called modular site due to a raid on their origin sites from the Chaos Insurgency. Even though I find it strange to think that they moved an entire machine with 8 million moving parts without breaking it, but, you know. It could happen, I guess. I don't fucking know. So that's that. You're not in Site-19, you're not in Site-31, and you're not in Facility 23. You are in the modular site. Okay, video over, goodbye. But wait, if you were paying attention at the start of the video, you'll remember I mentioned the name Dr. Maynard. During a facility-wide containment breach at Foundation containment site, orchestrated by rogue SCP staff member Dr. Maynard, who was working under the Chaos Insurgency. The eagle-eyed amongst you would have picked up on the name Dr. G. Maynard on the modular site document that we found in the conference room 9B.
The modular site project is a concept initiated by Dr. G. Maynard in the Engineering and Technical Service
According
Department.
to these notes, it appears that Rogue Foundation staff member George Maynard, who is an insider for the Chaos Insurgency, had a major hand in the construction of the modular site, hence why it was so easy for him to take the entire place down, using SCP-079, by giving the machine complete and total access of the door control system. It was Dr. Maynard's plan to have all the anomalies moved and bunched up together under one roof, so he could unleash as much chaos as he could. The modular site was just a way for the insurgency to cripple the Foundation, and depending on which ending you get, either was successful or unsuccessful. But what happened to Dr. Maynard following the events of the Containment Breach? If you get lost in the pocket dimension, you can find a document with a personal access code for an office. The code itself is random on each playthrough, but the name always is the same, Dr. Maynard. It's pretty safe to assume that the man who once held this note is also somewhere in the pocket dimension, another victim claimed by SCP-106. There is a possibility that it's this guy you see falling through the roof in light containment, but it's not confirmed. Closing remarks when it comes to the argument of Site-19 or not, I'd like to imagine the modular site is heavily inspired by Site-19's design. I'd imagine Site-19 has its own light, heavy, and entrance sounds, as well as the gates. When I first found this out, it was like I got punched in the gut. Not really, but you get what I mean. To have this thought that this is what Site-19 looks like actually be wrong. It leaves you with so many questions. What does Site-19 look like? I've seen a few creations of what people think Site-19 would look like. Most take the style of Containment Breach, and I understand that design choice. I've tried myself. The Half-Life mod you've seen throughout this video is my own interpretation of a Containment Breach at Site-19, and what it would look like. You can see the style is heavily based off the modular site. It's not something I think I'd ever finish. I've got other Half-Life mods in the works, but just as a, I guess, concept of what something like that could look like. I might post more about it another time, but at the moment this is all I have for it. I'd suggest making your own interpretation of what Site-19 could look like, as the SCP Foundation is a community project and doesn't have its own canon. This is why there's been incredible fan content made throughout the years. To see this community I've been a part of since I was a young lad grow to such impressive size is amazing. SCP Containment Breach was one of my favorite games growing up, alongside Soy Blocks and Soy Life. Soy Life.
He's there! He's there! Where is he? He's in that room! He's in
Nine-tailed folks are better because they have better weaponry.
Nope.
Oh, we're shitting myself,
Bro,
man.
they have the crossback and the recoil. They have...
Well, that's that. I would like to say, this video is a lot different from my regular content. I wanted to do something new. I'd also like to thank everyone for 1 billion subscriber. I'm happy to know that I'm the first man to ever achieve such a count. If you have any suggestions about my content going forward, please let me know. I wish to transform my content to new informative style with a, the slop on the side. Other than that, I'll see ya when I see ya.